Hey, thanks for tapping on the video. I hope you're having a great day so far. And, super exciting times. There's a lot of really cool ways to use really powerful AI tools to grow your business. Specifically, we're going to be looking at how to improve the search engine optimization on our website. So that's like for typical kind of Google search, but also for these new kind of AI searches that people are doing in Perplexity and Grok and GPT and Gemini and everything. So we're going to try to set up our website so that we are better positioned to rank higher in those queries when potential new customers are looking for us. So we're going to be doing this for our website, the Prism website. I'm not wearing the Prism hat today. I'm wearing the Apple hat because you guys are in tech. It's WWDC week, which is exciting. So I had to rep the support. But anyways, we're going to be adding to the blog post or the blog page of our website. Specifically, we're going to be making a blog post related to one of the new YouTube videos that we released, which was some advice from 27 of my favorite entrepreneurs. The idea of this blog post, how do we use those principles from these world-class entrepreneurs to advance our businesses and our companies in this world of AI? We're going to be using Codex, Cursor, maybe a little bit of Claude code. And yeah, so it should be a pretty good time. So the first thing that I do with these is I try to export the transcript from the YouTube video. And so I'll give you guys some kind of commentary as we do this as well. The reason that we're doing this is kind of to create this like content flywheel type of thing where basically how can we use the video content that we're creating to also help with, our SEO and help us with some of these other services outside of YouTube that are important for growing our business and our marketing channels. One of the ways to do that is to record a video, because that's just kind of, I would say, like, you can just kind of get it's the highest density of like content that you can get out there. And so I think like doing a video is best. That way you have like a bunch of really dense content that you can extract like a transcript out of, like we're going to do right now. And then you can feed it into an AI system. And then that AI system can turn that into other forms of content. Like, so for one of the things I've been doing, for example, is like creating X posts from the videos we've been posting. So like, for example, here's my like X account, and like you guys saw I put up this Claude code video a couple of days or like yesterday. And what I've been doing is I basically exported the transcript from this and then worked on some like individual tweets about how, or X posts about how this kind of the main takeaways from the video. So like you kind of scan it really easily and like pull out the main learnings from it that we ran into during the Claude code video. And if you want, you're like, okay, this is pretty interesting, I want to like see the whole thing, then you can watch the whole thing. And so it's just kind of like creating these new and different ways for people to engage with our content. And then again, like we're touching multiple services, right? So we were on YouTube, X, and now we're building like on our blog, like on our website. And so that's kind of the way to think about this, is like your online presence should kind of be like this ecosystem that you're building out. And what's great is that there are so many vectors in which these AI tools are getting so much powerful, and you can really use them to these giant levers to create a lot of, just outsized return on your inputs. So those inputs being the videos and like just some of these little touch-up details like we're doing. So let's see. We're gonna go to Gemini. I used up all my O3 my O3 credits. I'm gonna say please. So Gemini 2.5 Pro is pretty good, and so it's gonna pull out all of this. And so now we're kind of like more in the content world of things right now than we are in like the coding world of things. But we're going to like extract this all and basically turn it into a new blog post page that can live on our blogs page here, and they can be using this exact text that we put in from Gemini. So we're kind of going to look at what it's saying. OODA loop, that was the Reid Hoffman thing. Shrink idea to execution timeline. Become a thinker doer, that's a Steve Jobs thing. Okay, so this is pretty cool. Let's say I'm going to give it some more instructions. So I want it to be like decently good, and then I want it to be just to show you guys the example. And I think that this kind of workflow and this framework I'm showing you gets you like maybe 75% of the way there. But it's not always like the best content. Like obviously, like I think like a lot of this you want to really go through with a fine tooth comb and keep on working on this and keep refining and iterating and making, and then you should always be asking yourself, like, how can I make this content better? Like, how can I make this web page better? How can I make this written content better? How can I make this video better, more engaging, like more helpful? Like, how can I do all of this? And there's always more room to kind of do that. But these systems, just like the Reid Hoffman thing, I'm gonna make my own remix on this. The OODA loop part, like about how the fighter pilot, it's like your speed of decision making, and that's kind of what is important to be critical for success in Silicon Valley. The fighter pilot concept of OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, act. Like that is exactly what these AI systems allow you to do at rapid speed as a founder, and as a business owner. Is like, okay, let's just put it out there and start iterating. And then, of course, we have deep analytics built into this and AI analytics as well. So we can see how people are finding it and using it and if it's helpful or not. But this looks pretty good. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this, and then we're going to go into Cursor to build out the actual blog page. Okay, guys, so here I am in Cursor on the Prism website. I'm just gonna make sure we're using the latest code. I'm gonna like pull everything down here. And if you guys haven't been following along with Cursor recently, I mean, Cursor has been making waves in the news, for a long time this year. It's just like a really amazing company with building really great products. But recently, they've been really upgrading this background agent. And as you can see, it's using Claude for Opus, which is the last video we had a Claude code video where we're using Opus, and it's just insanely powerful. And this is basically Cursor taking that engine, that model, and deploying it into their already amazing product, their IDE Cursor. And so what we're going to do is, okay, I'm going to give it some context here so that it hopefully hallucinates less. And so that's one of the things, like, I'm super new to Cursor, guys. Like, I'll be honest, like I'm not like a god at Cursor or anything like that. But I think that it is. But I've learned a couple things that have helped me, like as I've been like bumping up against the walls and everything. And so one of them is being able to add context in. So I just dragged in this folder that contains all of our blog markdown files. I'm gonna say, let's add a new blog post. Markdown file to show on the blog page. I'm going to actually give it the context of our blog page and where that lives. So you can copy the domain here. Use this exact written copy for the written content on the blog, the new blog post markdown file. Okay, so I'm still learning, like, okay, what's kind of the best way to prompt these things, and what's the best way to write this out, and how does that differ from the background agent versus the normal agent, right? But this is a pretty big task, right? So I'm telling it, I'm giving it all of the written content, the founder's playbook for the AI era. So pretty cool. And hopefully this one-shots it. So again, this is using Claude 4 Opus on the maxed out setting on Cursor. And what we can do now is, here you can see that I've been using background agent a ton. It's been amazing. And you can click into it, and you can see it's starting to spin up the environment and everything, and starting to get going. And what's cool is you can switch between all of these different tabs. It's so amazing, guys, that, while this is thinking, I'll actually pull up something else here I want to show you, which is just how these products are starting to diverge, in terms of their design, and you can kind of extract like who they're kind of more designed for, who's the target user for them and everything. And so like in an environment, you see it working what the heck? I'm literally just trying to go to OpenAI Codex. I don't know why this isn't working. oops, sorry, you can usually go here, Codex. So here we are, and like this is we made a video about this the other day, but like Codex's UI, it's so simple, right? It's so simple when you compare it to something like Cursor. Like Cursor is super, super, super crazy and overwhelming. Like there's a lot of stuff going on in the UI. There's a lot of stuff like kind of fighting for your attention and everything as a user. And that's what it kind of is that developers are used to that. Developers like that. Developers like having more control and like being able to customize things better and having more insight. And it's interesting because this is much more obviously like an IDE and like the typical kind of IDE and everything, the Cursor kind of design style. And when you listen to the Codex team talk from OpenAI, the engineers who built this and the product people, they're like, they really want this to be a product for hardcore engineers, you know, working on really big code bases at really big enterprises. So it's interesting because they have kind of like the same target demographic or target user, but OpenAI is, they have it kind of just like it's super minimalistic. And then here, like they're starting on like the way where it's more minimalistic and how do we add more things and add it so that like you can jump in as a developer and make individual edits and in a more like streamlined way, and you can get that customization when you need it. Like how do they create that interface? Like it's a really interesting design problem when you think about it. And Cursor has kind of taken the opposite approach where they started with something that's super, super complex and are working backwards to make it more simple. So just while this is working, I mean, you can see that it's just kind of doing some more analysis still and learning about everything, but the background agent. But basically, you know, it looks like it's getting pretty close to it, or it's done now. But this is basically, I'm in the full screen now of the background agent. Like this background agent view is essentially what you get like when you're in Cursor, like this view, like the comparison of these. But in Codex, there's not really a way to drill down and like get all these customized options. Whereas in Cursor, you can get all those options, you know, like you can get out of this and I can leave this background task, you know, and go over here and start like looking at the individual like markdown files and doing some like analysis on that. Or I can have a new conversation with the code, with an agent about the code, or I can do more research and keep on building and I can come back to this. And so, you know, they're more like, I'm just kind of like, you know, sharing my thoughts on this, guys. It's just such an interesting time and like how these products are developing. And I'm so excited, you know, and I like how there's different options and different things kind of based on what your preferences are. And you can, as a developer, if you're building product, you're building software, or you're a founder right now, you can kind of build these environments or these AI tools around you to best help your needs. And I'm just telling you guys that like what we're doing, like helping Prism grow and helping the businesses that hire us grow. This is kind of the stack that's working best. And I'll keep sharing the stuff that's working best for me with you guys. Okay. So let's finally take a look at this. So it had to create this blog post, the structure, metadata, founder playbook, proper metadata, formatted, SEO friendly. Okay, this looks pretty good. So it's kind of like Codex. You know, you see my Codex. It looks pretty similar, right? The call to action, or the main thing you're supposed to do is create a pull request. And that's going to open up this GitHub window. And you can see here that it's created a pull request and added its own description, which is pretty cool. It looks like we're not seeing any like errors or flags thrown up by Vercel. So we're going to create a pull request, and it's going to check it out. There's no conflicts with the branch, so we can merge the code. And right away, we could go to the live site and check it out, or we can click this preview link, and Vercel will authenticate us, and we can go down to the blog and see if it's working. And here it is. It's at the end here. So one of the things you know, that's wrong right now with our blog page that I definitely need to update is the months. Like you can see here, it just created this one, but it put it as like January 15th. Like, I don't really know why it did that. And there's some issues here, right? Like some of this information is repeated. But overall, it came out okay. And so now, what I've noticed is like the best thing to do is we're going to close out of this background agent. We're going to look at the branches. We're going to pull the commits down from the last changes that we made. And then I'm gonna make this full screen, guys, just so I can see it a little bit better. Founders Playbook, AI era. And so you can see that we have, like, the way this is built, the markdown file. Now, part of the tool, let's see, as I'm looking at like the YouTube embed, and how this is done, because it's like, basically we need to look at how do I noticed that it's missing the YouTube video. And so the markdown file for the other blog posts have these sections here where it's literally just like this kind of code block. And so let's actually do this with, I'm going to keep using the background agent for the sake of our video. I think that it's cooler because this is the newer kind of feature. You guys probably want to see it. Well, I'm sure you guys have seen all like what the agent can do in Cursor, but yeah. And so, okay, this is good. I'm going to create a new background task. I'm going to drag in this context from our markdown file. I'm going to drag in the context from this other successful markdown file too. In the blog folder. And I'm going to give it the link to our YouTube video, and I'm going to ask it to add that video to the bottom of the blog post. So let's see. So please add this YouTube video to the bottom of this blog post. And then we have our Founders Playbook blog post. It should look similar to this, to the way the video appears on this blog post. Actually, I'm going to take out the reference to the blog folder because I think it's just confusing and we don't really need that extra stuff. So yeah, and you can kind of see like this is the way that works best for me. I found a prompt so far is like kind of thinking about it piecemeal and like putting all this context in it, and then kind of wrapping these files for context in it, and then wrapping a description around it. So you guys kind of just saw me build this. Please add this YouTube video to the bottom of the blog post, Founders Playbook AI Era. It should look similar to the way the video appears on this blog post, and I gave it the Replit blog post. And so now we're going to click it and it's going to start building this out. Okay. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to clear out some of these tabs just so we have a little more space here, but I'm trying to get it to look like the Replit blog post, which is this one. Oh, I just noticed that the video isn't appearing in the Replit blog post either. So that's probably going to create an issue. We'll see we'll see what it says. These other three, I literally picked the one blog post that didn't have the video correctly. Oh no, nah, it's not. Yeah. It's not in the Replit one. Dang. Okay, we'll see what it does. What's it thinking right now? It says that it added it to the bottom of the Founders Playbook. Okay, it says that it did it. It's still generating, but once it's done generating, we'll create the pull request and check it out. And then we should try to figure, hopefully, it would be amazing if it one shot fixed the blog post missing on the Replit page and the other one. but and the new one that we're creating, the video appearing there. But it's okay if it didn't. Hopefully we at least get one of the two missing videos appearing, and then we can kind of work backwards from there. Okay, there weren't any conflicts with the branch for Vercel, audited it. Let's look at the blog. Okay, cool, the video's appearing now. The title is repeated, which is weird. Let's see if it fixed the Replit one, and the Replit video isn't appearing. But yeah, this is, so you see we're making good progress here now. The only thing is that I think that yeah, this is really cool. The only thing is that the title is incorrect. So we're going to close out of this. We're going to make sure that we've pulled down the latest and greatest code from what's available online, and let's just make sure that we're all synced up and everything, and then we'll create a new background agent task to say that the title is repeated. Or actually, let's see if we can actually go into the markdown file and just change it directly. So founders playbook, so this is the content. You can see that it's displaying there. And I think that this is all the metadata. And so something about the way that this page is rendering, it's like repeating the title. So, but I'm also like, I could just probably delete this line of code at line 30, but I'm also worried that that's there for a reason, you know, like that's helping us. I think that having, I mean, you want your H1 at the top like that with your, for SEO to be easy to crawl. So let's just look at this and be like, I'm just going to ask the background agent to fix it in the most optimal way. So the title looks repeated at the top of this blog post in the production web page. Please fix it so the title isn't repeated. So this one's like a much smaller prompt. It should be able to kick this off no problem. You know, while we're running this, I'm going to show you guys, we're going to try something else a little crazy and see if we can get the video to display correctly on the Replit one. So let me actually, so this our background agent is running and figuring out how to do all of that. Let me look at the Replit video and see why it's not potentially displaying the video correctly. It looks like it has, yeah, it has the video link up there and everything. Or no, it doesn't have the video link. It has I don't know that it has a video link. I mean, I see this canonical. Like when you look at this, for example, like where's the video link for this used? I'm not even sure actually how it built this out. But so this is something I'm not actually sure. Like where's this video? Where are the videos all storing? So this is a great example. Like this happens to me a good amount where I'm not really sure like what happened there, what it did. So the video on, I'm gonna give it the exact title here. This blog post I might add the video for context here, just for good measure. Okay, so I just told it that the replit video isn't displaying correctly, and so to try to figure out what that is and to fix it, and to look at the other blog posts as they are displaying the content correctly. So for like a model, like look at those basically, and be like, hey, is this, how do we get this working better? Also noticing the video isn't appearing on that one anymore for some reason. Let's look at check out our agent here. Okay, it thinks that it's done. Oh yeah, this is the duplicate, so we can remove that extra duplicated text at the top. So we'll create the pull request. It's gonna check it off, and then we're gonna merge it, and we'll see. So right now we're trying to fix this bug. This is merged. Let's see. Okay. This is our latest commit. Hey, it fixed. So the title's fixed. This background agent did a good job here fixing the title. So let's make sure we're using the latest. This looks good. Okay. We're gonna pull these changes down. So we have the newest thing in front of us, and then let's look at this again. Yeah, so we can see that they like rebuilt the way that was. They actually literally just, that thing I was saying, like, should we take this H1 out? They just literally took it out of that, which is interesting. So I guess that was the right move, and I could have just did that, but. And so this is still working on fixing the replit video, but I noticed now that the video isn't appearing on that blog post, so yeah, I don't know why this isn't. I'm just curious, like, how are these videos, like the Claude one, this is displaying correctly, for example. So date, image, gradient, open graph, Twitter, import YouTube video from the components. Okay, so this is where it is. It's in this file here, and it's using this component to build the video. And then it just, it uses the video ID. So it's like a super simplified thing built here. And here's the part at the end. It has the video ID. So let's, this time I'm going to show you guys, we're going to use the agent instead of the background agent, and we're going to try to make this change. So I'm going to drag this context in here, and I'm going to say, let's add this YouTube video to the bottom of this blog post, similar to the way the YouTube video is added to the bottom of this blog post. And I'm gonna reference the Claude Code blog post that we had, and where this is, this YouTube video here, I'm going to go over to Safari again and get um, our advice from 27 entrepreneurs video. I'm going to paste it in here. And I'm going to say, let's add the video. And we're going to use, this is using, instead of Opus for Macs, this is using Gemini, Google's model, the latest Google model here. So this is going to work on building that out. And let's go ahead and check on Codex and see how it's doing. So it looks like it's good. Unit test failed. Okay, so it made some adjustments to the embed container. So we'll see how this is all looking, and hopefully we're golden. So it's gonna do the pull request. We'll look at this. Man, I don't know if this is gonna be the right move, but we'll see. Hopefully this fixes it. And then let's pull up our. Okay, this says I've added the YouTube links to the blog, and then we can review it here. We have these changes to make, you can see here with accept J, and these are the changes that it made where it added the YouTube embed. So that looks good to me. So I'm going to accept that. And now we're just going to commit our code. So we're going to save it here. And so now you guys have seen something with the agent and with the background agent. So we're going to commit this. Let's see if you just, yeah. Okay, we're gonna sync this. Okay, so that looks good now. I'm gonna go back to, I'm curious what this looks like actually. This is our replit fix with the embedded video. Dang, it doesn't look like it's working here. It still looks the same, right? Let's make sure it's looking okay. It's still on our other video, on our other posts. So the Codex PR request didn't work, or PR didn't work. But let's go to our GitHub commits and let's look at the latest one that was done here. It's still verifying it, but this was adding the video to the bottom of the advice blog post we were creating. This one. And for this guy, it's tough because this is still not working. So let's just say, okay. I actually want to look at the code for that one as well. This is the replit one, I mean. Let's see. Okay, here it is. So yeah, I don't know why this part isn't working correctly. I think that the there's some CTA at the bottom that might be messing it up, because that's not displaying correctly either. Like all of this junk that's at the bottom here, basically, after it's like good luck, grow. Like I don't even know if any of this is displaying correctly. Oh no, it's like repeating the title again. This is really weird. bug here where we're getting the title repeated. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, cool. That did fix it. I had probably some weird cookie things going on. But the replit video is still not displaying. This one's displaying. There's no longer repeated title. So the main task of the video that we set out to build is done here. But the other part that it was like a bug we ran into that we didn't even know, that I didn't even know was there yet, is that the video is not displaying correctly on that blog post. So I think that we should just go into Cursor to fix this. I think that, in my experience, Codex is great when it works. It has like the background tasks and everything, and like that's really cool. But just sometimes it doesn't quite get there, and it does feel like, kind of going back to the conversation we were having earlier about just having more customization and control. Like, you don't have that in Codex, right? So it's kind of hard. But yeah, so I'm basically going to tell it that I think a lot of this stuff is not displaying correctly. The goal of AI in website builders is to make complex tasks. Okay. So like, I don't know what's going on here. I think a lot of the content is just not rendering, maybe. Okay, guys, I basically just told it that some of the written content in the video are cut off and not displaying for the blog post in production. And I gave it the reference to that exact blog post here that we're looking at, the markdown file with the replit video. And it's going to look into this now. Again, this is using Gemini, the newest Gemini model. And it's going to look into it and try to figure out what the cause of the problem is. So it's going to start by examining the founder playbook because that one's working correctly. And then it's going to try to figure out what. Okay. Hey guys. So the changes that it made were down here, and it basically said that the main issue was that it compared the replit blog post to our other working blog post, and it noticed that the class, it was using class name instead of class. And so it basically made some changes to better align with the other like working blog posts that we had. So that looks good to me, guys. So it says that we're all done now. And so I'm going to save and commit these changes. I think that there's just like a deeper issue here because like even the way the content of the text is formatted on the replit blog post is just more spaced out and looks a little bit different. So I think that there might be some kind of special rules for how that's being handled or something like that. So let's now, I think I think we've made good progress on this, like trying to align these things, but there's just some issues with it still. And so let's go ahead and go back to the background agent and tell it, hey, the video isn't displaying correctly. Okay, so I'm going to kick off a background task now, or a background agent, and it's going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into it. So a couple reasons why I'm hoping this will work. I mean, again, this is using a different model. So like to make some of these edits and changes, we used Gemini and Cursor Agent, but now we're going to be using Claude Opus and Cursor Background Agent to try to figure out what's going on here. I think that there's basically something weird with how this content is displayed on this blog post versus the other blog posts that we have. Like there's some discrepancy in how these are being rendered and displayed because it just looks a little bit different, and all of these are working except this one. And there's more than just like the video. It's like it gets cut off after like a certain point. And so yeah, there's just something really weird definitely going on with going on with this. Okay, so it says that it's looking at that class again, and it thinks that that was the issue. So it's created we're going to create another pull request here. It, did all the work for us. And Vercel is going to do these checks on it. It says specifically the class attribute on the div element wrapping the YouTube video embed component was changed to class name. This modification was necessary because MDX, which process requires class name for applying CSS class and like standard HTML class to change. Ensures video. Okay, so we change it from class name, or we change it from class to class name. But I don't know, guys. Like, I think that it might be getting kind of caught up in this like looping, like wrapping of it, because I feel like it's been doing the same changes like over the last couple that we made here. So I'm like, I don't know. But let's go to our incognito and just like really check this. Yeah, it's just not working. Okay. I think I'm gonna have it do. I'm gonna have the background agent do a task where it's going to like just not specifically look at like the video, but compare. But it's gonna compare all of the other working blogs to the blog that has the issue, and then I think that'll help us fix it. So let's say, okay, I'm gonna drag this in. This blog page is not rendering correctly. Some of the content. Actually, no, I'm not even gonna give it that. I'm just gonna say there's something wrong with it. Please compare it to the working blog pages to find the root cause of the bug. Okay. And then I'm gonna give it these. Oh shit. And I'm gonna give it these. Other context, Okay. I gave it a ton of this context, guys, and I said, hey, like basically these are the issues that we have, the things we have bugs or issues with. I think I accidentally just kicked off two on accident. So, but we can see, I mean, let's just see it. Honestly, one of them I accidentally pressed enter before all the context was into the window. So I didn't give it the context of the working blog pages in the first one, but we'll see. Hopefully one of them can resolve the issue. Yeah, hey guys. So it's interesting because the background agent that we kicked off second that had more context finished first. And I actually think that it did find the true root cause of the issue, which was us using some HTML like syntax that wasn't actually, it was like raw HTML that was breaking it, and then that was what was different. Versus this other one, it's still thinking, and we kicked it off first, and we didn't give it as much context. So that's why I think it's so huge. Like you can see here that the solution that the agent came up with was different from each of these based on how much context we gave it, like how much directed context we gave it, and specifically, oh shoot, this is not working. But this has happened sometimes before where it does, the PR doesn't quite display correctly. So let's see. can. Okay. So we're going to create the pull request now. And I do think that that was the issue, like the HTML, difference. The site name part, placeholder, just interesting. But yeah, let's try it out again. Okay, it looks like it's still not fixed. So we're gonna go back over to Codex now and see if we can resolve it in Codex. So again, like it's just this really minor bug, right? But we're kind of curious, like what's the root cause of this? And I think that there's a difference. I think that there's a difference between the way that Replit blog post we created is built, that web page, versus the other web pages that are built in the blog page or for blogs. So what I'm going to do is tell Codex to deeply analyze the structure of each of those blog pages to understand what the kind of like key differences are, and then to come up with the best way to fix that. And you saw that I did like an ask instead of a code task in Codex, and that's because like with a lot of these models, the trend, or what seems to work better, is like breaking up the problems into smaller bite-sized pieces and into like tasks, and then like telling an LLM to go and execute each of those tasks individually as their own kind of like contained problems, and that kind of breaking up those problems piecemeal is a way to get like a better result from these things. So what that looks like in practice in Codex is like kind of putting out your ideas and kind of doing like a scan, or asking it to kind of first look for what the cause of the issue is, and then based on what it finds as the possible cause of the issue, create its own plan as to the best way to handle those issues. And that way you can see here that like you're acting more as like a senior developer, or like higher up and more far removed, where you're telling it more, like giving it more like directional guidance than saying, hey, like here's the direction I want to go to and like the result that I want, and you just figure out like whatever the best way to accomplish that result is. Like you go and figure it out and then go and do it. So yeah, it's just like that's kind of like the mental model about how we've been thinking about working with these things. And that's why I asked Codex to do an ask instead of like just a code task right away. So Codex is telling us that it's trying to import this call to action component, and that doesn't exist in the repository. So let's go ahead and go back to our cursor window to look into this more deeply. I'm gonna pull the latest changes just to make sure that we are looking at the most up-to-date, kind of environment or window here. And then I want to look at these files, this file specifically here, div call to action. So it's saying like Codex is saying there's a weird call to action at the bottom that is not in any of these others, which I can see is, I mean, I think that they have these call to actions, but I think that they're just constructed differently. Like most of them, it should just end. The ones that are working well just end with this like YouTube embed. But I do see this here, this get started. This is on the business visibility chat GPT. So I'm gonna go check out this. I just want to see what this looks like. Sorry. Oh, here. Okay. So this is what this is like, a really basic, simple CTA, and that's what that looks like. And that works, right? Like right here. But so what if I just like delete this call to action? Let's see where else is it? used here? Looks like it's used there. And it's used here. Okay. So it's going to try to import that call to action. I'm literally going to remove this code. And then we're going to save it. I'm going to push. Removed. Okay. Remove call to action from replit bug. We're going to save all this stuff. We're going to sync it. Please. Like, isn't that funny? Like that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this all turns out. You know, I think that this is getting messed up because in the blog post, we're kind of giving them instructions about like how to set up their HTML for their Replit project, but that when this is being built, the site is getting confused and it's seeing some of this HTML content and it's messing it up. Like it's trying to actually like use that to render the blog page instead of understanding that's just part of the instructions that we're trying to give the reader. So yeah, I had it just finished this, right? But I had it like go and look and like simplify everything. And I told it to like just take out anything that could be like with the formatting that could be messing it up, you know? And so it took out all of this stuff. Like look at all the red. So yeah, that looks good now and everything. So we're gonna try to change this and save it. And ideally, this is a much more simplified version. I'm gonna say more simple Replit blog post. Okay, fingers crossed. Pray to the code gods. I'm so curious, like, why is this not... I really think it was because of that, but usually set this in the HTML. Like, this part was the part that was getting cut off. Like, this title. The title part. Like, I literally think that it was registering that as... Because it all got cut off after that, you know? But we'll see. Okay, it says that it did it, but I don't know. I don't know what's happening, guys. I swear. I don't know what's happening. Honestly, like, what is this? It's literally, it's all this, like, you know, as far as I can see, this is all the same. Like, what would be causing an issue from this? This was the point of the video was creating this file, and then we figured out this file is like completely messed up. And it's just weird because of like the way that it's rendering. Like it seems like there's something that right after that part that we were just talking about, like that it gets cut off. The step 7 part. like maybe the text isn't even updating, or like the way that this blog post is built. So, okay. Another thing that we can do is we can give it context from a screenshot. So I'm gonna tell it that um, so I'm gonna try to add a screenshot to give it some more context as to like how it's all rendering. The truncation issue in the blog post about creating the website, the screenshot highlighting the cutoff point between the steps 6 and 7 is given a clear picture of the problem. I'm exploring potential solutions and all content displays fully. The issue lies within the markdown for step 7. Under the page title section, it seems the indented content extends beyond the visible portion, ending mid-sentence. I'm investigating how. They're being interpreted by the browser as plain text. So that's why it says. Okay, it says I've corrected the formatting issue. Guys, this has been such a grind to fix this like one tiny little thing. Um, uh, this is like the craziest stuff, right? But this is just what software engineering is like. This is what writing code is like. It's just it's so complex, but these tools are so powerful if you can use them correctly to find how to fix the problem really quickly. And you guys know me. Like I'm not like super god mode coder like some of the other people that are out there. And so, but it does still feel like it's like superpowers for me, right? Like it's still pretty amazing. Um, okay, so this is going to check this out and build this. I'm tired. We gotta figure this out. We got this. Come on. Oh, it did something. What the fuck, guys? I'm losing it. We have worked on this for a while, guys. It's crazy because we were just trying to get to build this markdown file. That was it. And then we figured out like there was something wrong with this. And we kept pulling that thread, like what is causing this? And finally, I figured out what it is. The content is being cut off because the HTML tags within your text are being interpreted by the browser instead of being displayed as plain text. I'll fix this by properly escaping the H1, H2, and title tags so they're rendered correctly on the page. I knew that was a problem. Remember we started digging into it? I'm like, I think it's being rendered as HTML. It's confusing. And yeah, it's just so cool. So crazy. So just like in real time, we solved this bug, and like, um, there's going to be so many issues like this or things like this that come up as you're coding. And I went to and studied software engineering in college, and it was like this, but it was just like on even smaller, like tinier things. And so this is so cool. We're able to work on these much grander, bigger projects, but yeah, that it still doesn't like escape the fact that these systems are wrong, right? These systems can be wrong. They can hallucinate. They aren't perfect. And you kind of saw me go through this exercise over the past like hour or whatever that was of trying to fix this thing. And you saw my thought process of like, okay, trying to figure out like what's probably causing this and how to use different tools like Cursor and Codex to try to solve it. And we didn't even get into using Claude Code. I mean, I probably could have called up Claude Code here or whatever to just, try it as well. And so that's another thing where, yeah, there's just like, you can bring lots of these systems in and everything. You saw us use Opus 4 with Cursor's background agent. You saw us use Gemini's newest model on Max settings in Cursor. So lots of different things that we exercises we went through to try to like resolve this bug. And seemingly it's a super small bug, but a really important lesson that I learned here, and what kind of caused that and everything, and how to potentially notice that in the future and prevent it from happening in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching. And you might have seen, I mean, like we mentioned at the start of the video, WWDC is this week. Like Apple was talking about how, hey, maybe these AI systems aren't super great and aren't super perfect yet, and we should pump the brakes and wait or be more thoughtful about this. And, I think I sit somewhere in the middle where it isn't perfect, obviously. Like you saw this, that was a tiny little thing that was causing our blog page to break. But they're so like on one, it's kind of like both of those, right? Where it is like it can mess up in these tiny little things, but it's also so amazing and mind-blowing like what it's able to do and how much more leverage it gives me as an engineer and as a founder to build what I want to build and put it into the world. So if you have ideas for cool stuff that you want to add, for your business and grow your marketing, and you need a new website or an app or design, go to the Prism website and hit me up, or you can check out our new blog post that you guys just helped me create. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.